Hey guys, this is Off the Record with Luke Eccles, and today we have
Joseph Kenney.
Joseph. He's going to super formal today. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I'll let you tell us about you.
Thank you. Thanks for giving the intro to me.
No problem.
So I'm a local Phoenixville area recording artist, musician, music teacher, artist manager. I've been playing the keys since I was 6 years old. It's the one thing I was better at than my brother and sister, so I stuck with it. And
Brother and sister.
I mean, yeah, my sister's now like a econ professor. My brother got like a lawyer's degree and a business degree. But yeah, I'll take the wins where I can get them.
Right.
And then, I'm in 6 different bands, recording a lot of music, multi-genre. Musical ADD serves me really well. I write a lot of music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, tell us a little bit about the bands you're in. I know you got the Improper Hustlers.
Yep.
I did.
So,
yeah.
did you say improper?
It's proper hustler.
Yeah. Improper would be
Improper
awesome.
is the side band with the members that got kicked out.
That's right. Once we're canceled, that's what it's going to become. But
The Improper.
Proper Hustlers, yeah, we're playing. We have a lot of cool things coming up. We're a jam band, original music. Other guys are super inspired by Fish. I am sort of, but not that I'm just teasing songs every different jam. But it's a really fun group. We just added a female singer, Alicia, provides a lot of great stage presence, good vocal backups. And we have shows lined up at Rec Room and have a full-length album in the works too.
And now you guys are playing covers and originals?
Yeah, it depends on the set. Like we want to lean into the original stuff. I think a lot of people do, but we'll have some 3-hour shows that we play covers, and we're trying to find which ones relate to different demographics,
Sure.
as I know you know, and all that.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about a cover band is like you've got 3 hours of material, and like having more than 3 hours of material is a lot of work.
Right.
So it's like it's definitely got to be you've got to kind of pick the venues that sometimes that fit your style of music, because I mean cover bands are you've got like Nevertheless, you play like all like 90s and 2000s stuff, and it works at Molly's, but a jam band, depends on where you're at.
Yeah, so we'll do some Radiohead and some different things that are more, some Radiohead stuff that we do like High and Dry and like Creep that are more down the middle in terms of like maybe relatability than like some Fish deep cuts. But we're also able to practice material, Ethan, the lead guitarist, and I as a duo, because we do some duo gigs depending on budget and ambiance that are like great marketing tools and practice tools for building kind of rapport with different audience members for the full group thing. So it's kind of fun to do that. And I know me and you got a acoustic thing coming up too. So the duo thing is fun for me too. I'm a big fan of that.
Cool. And tell me about the other bands you're in. I know you're in one with my buddy Zach.
Yeah. So Grateful Dead cover band. We're called Dad and Company.
I love it.
The spin is, obviously with the name, where all of us are dads. The guitarist Greg is a cat dad, but it counts.
He's responsible for her life.
That's true. And the cats never let up on you. They want to trick you into food so many times. Like I got one for my daughter. And it's like every morning, every second breakfast, 2 hours later. So, but Dad and Company is pretty cool. We do different funky type of spin on Grateful Dead tunes. We do P-Funk tunes. Those are the two that we're leaning into. But we've also done like Rihanna, our singer Denny from Whiskey Hick and Boys.
Yeah.
And he has several groups that he's in. He brings a great like soulful energy, and it's always a trip with him. He always has some surprises and does some vocal cadenzas, and we sometimes take different detours that we just have to hang on and sometimes laugh because he likes to do his own thing, but he's great, and it's a good group. It's a fun band.
He has a crazy vocal range.
Yeah. He's not afraid to wail on some high notes. He's not afraid to get low. And he also has vocal effects now to do some of the more P-Funk stuff.
Oh, really?
And, a lot of delays. So he's a whole act unto himself, I would say.
Yeah. The what killed me is you guys did the Time of the Whipping Post, that cover.
Right.
And then I think you guys did an Adele. I think it was an Adele song.
We do
More of like a modern art, like R&B pop.
Might be
Forget what
Rihanna.
it might have been Rihanna.
Love on the Brain, potentially.
Yeah, Love on the Brain.
That's one of my favorites.
Dude, that one. So with the way he sings,
He sells it.
The way that he sings it reminds me more of Adele because he sings it with like a little bit more like aggressive, like
right.
But like
it's a great compliment either way.
Yeah.
I got to pass that on to him for the website.
Oh, dude, like that, like. When I heard him singing that, like, because I've always been like, I would love to cover this one, like, it's like, because it could make it a very heavy hitting song.
Yeah, and that's so fun about like when I see other bands play and I'm not playing. A lot of it's like some of it's like the urge to like I want to be up there doing my thing, but a lot of it, like you're saying there, is taking inventory of like songs that you can do, like songs that they're doing, like we got to do this, add this to our list, and that can be super inspiring when you have like a non-performing day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it also like I think the thing I noticed when I started going to more local bands and seeing like my other friends play was it does give you ideas, especially on covers, is like because you could see like a pop punk band do a cover that you've been like, oh, I should do that, and then you kind of hear it under a different tonality and a different style, and you're like, okay, like that could work as like a semi like emo cover or like you kind of start hearing the fact that that song translates from the original to like a pop punk or to something that's full band that's more rocking, and it's like okay, like or ideas start to really come to your head,
and then you can do recon as to like how's the crowd reacting to like they like this, and you get the little competitive side like we could even add this flair, make it even better. Something like that.
That's really a big thing. Like if you really want to get into perfecting the craft of playing is really figuring out what the crowds react to. Cause we're musicians. We geek out over like all the stuff we do when it's cool. But sometimes like it might not be the right venue. It might not be the right audience. It could be both, it could be right at night. But like when you see like people react to certain things, it's like, okay, like take note of that. Like how did they do that?
And it's back to your point about like how much repertoire you need, because like at some point it's great to be able to audible based on the crowd. It's like almost like a sport, checking the crowd out depending on like if it's a 1 hour like solo or a 1 hour like original set, maybe not, but if it's like a 3 hour thing and you're gauging the crowd, it's like what's gonna land with this one, and it's good to have an abundance of options, abundance of angles if you can. So
kind of that's funny you said recon, like that's very like it's a good phrase for it, because like one of the things that when we started, before we switched from Awakening Mercury to Sunblind, I went and saw Anthony Green play at Siren Records in Doylestown, and they had a bunch. I think they had a band that was signed onto Casey's label from the Deer Hunter. So it was a couple of touring bands, and then like I think they had like 2 local bands. And the one thing I noticed, and this is like a tip I give to every local band, especially when you're starting out, even if you're well established, is the professional cantor of the lead singer and how you transition in between songs. You can tell like who's been doing it a long time by how little they talk in between songs. And again, some bands, the lead singer is really good at talking, working the crowd.
Sure.
But the one thing I've seen a lot of local bands do is the lead singer just starts like rambling and like muttering into the mic in between songs. And it's like, I tell bands like, just like shut up and play for at least 3 songs before you even say anything. And that way it lets like the music kind of breathe and people kind of get into the music more. You're not stopping. And then when they really get into it, like 3rd song, you do that break where everybody can tune and you just be like, hey, like we're on Bandcamp, we're on, do like we're name, just really short, but like the less you talk. And that was one of the things I learned just from watching other bands, watching local bands, and then watching a bunch of touring bands. And that was
the difference.
That was the thing that I kind of noticed. I was like, all right, like I wasn't a person that talked a whole lot anyway, but I kind of said to the band, I said, hey, like let's make sure we have everything ready so we can play 3 to 4 songs just straight through.
Awesome.
Like no breaks in between. Like the drummer figures out either like if somebody has to tune, like the drummer never has to tune. So, and usually the bassist doesn't. So there's your little hack for the show is if you can work out something where they either start playing the intro for the next song and give it a couple extra bars for everybody to tune if they have to, because sometimes like we play heavier stuff, so some of the songs in standard, some of it's in drop D. Sometimes I have to switch to a baritone, but kind of having that flow for your set, that's something that all bands should really watch. Other bands, when you're out when you're out at a show, it's just like, especially like local music, because you have shorter sets and then there's breakdowns in between. You know, sometimes, like, you know this, like, you're in a cover band, so you're playing like an hour set and then taking a break.
Right.
And sometimes you don't really get into the flow for that first set until like 3 or 4 songs in.
Yeah.
So like not taking breaks in between songs and really just kind of letting it flow. I found that
That's
it really
so valuable, man.
I really found that it helps us lock into, okay, we're on stage, we're playing right now. Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And what an opportunity to like just be a fly in the wall for those touring bands and to see, because with playing out, I find that even just the performing aspect, right? Without or playing my instrument, the keys, for example, even without the talking, because I'm not in the front man in our band, but experience breeds confidence. And I've seen Ethan, our frontman, really come into his own with the banter, and that's something he has to consider, like, as the front man. So with our hour shows, it's what we call it, like, sometimes having like a tight 5, and it's not actually 5 minutes, but like he talks about limiting the banter, and then, you know, more room to engage with the crowd maybe in the longer sets to break it up. But yeah, having an idea of that is so important. Like, it's a consideration, and to be able to see other people who do it well. Not only, like you said, you can see who's touring and who's still maybe more up and coming, but it's like, it's a great tool. Now, my perfectionism, I can turn it into like a darn, like, look at what I'm not doing. But the healthier version is to be like, yeah, let me translate and see what I can incorporate into my own thing here. And that's cool. And I know you like not only perform, but you like tech and have experience with some of these bigger groups, which is cool that you can then pass that on and pay it forward to groups you're either playing with or that like you're mentoring.
Right.
So
I think also musicians forget, I think, what was it, Thomas Edison, where they said, what was it like creating the light bulb? And he's like, oh no, I learned 1,000 ways not to make the light bulb, like, before I learned how to make the light bulb. So I think
it's super inspiring.
I think that's something that musicians really forget, because we're in a creative space and we're very emotionally in tune, and one of the healthy things, it could be healthy, it's usually unhealthy for us, but we're hard on ourselves, which helps us push to become better musicians, but also because we're hard on ourselves, we give up easily, or we just go like, oh, that was a failure, and we just, instead of looking at, okay, what did I screw up on, what did I miss here, but like, how do I fix that later? Like, that's something that musicians really need to make, especially when you're playing live,
right?
Because I mean, playing in the Philadelphia area is completely different compared to anywhere else. Like, you have a much harder time gaining the respect of the crowd in this area. We're a jaded bunch of people in this area.
It's just reflective of how we feel about sports sometimes. So that's
that part of it too.
You got to bring it each time, but you also have to have, just like the athletes in the town, you have to be resilient in Philly.
Yep.
I feel like that goes beyond to playing too. That's just, for me, like, I like the business side of casting a net to venues and interfacing with some of the bookers and different talent buyers and such. Like, you have to keep trying different things and not be deterred. And also as a recording artist, and I know you're a recording artist, putting out music, getting rejections from blogs and other things, and still casting the net and having a strong sense of like knowing that you're capable and not being deterred to keep putting yourself out there, whether musically or whether it's live performance or whether it's like pitching your music to different spots and getting feedback that's like, I can incorporate this, but I'm not going to let it tear me down that I stop. Right. So yeah, man.
What do you think, what have you found helps you as a local artist really getting your music out there? Because I know like, again, we've collaborated on a couple songs already, but I'm not the first person you've collaborated with. So what have you done? I mean, I know nowadays there's Spotify playlists, there's, it's very much about you're really good at putting out content. Like, honestly, almost you do it more than I do for myself for music wise. I mean, I put out a lot of content period for all the different channels, but
for sure.
You're very consistent. Like, what do what would be a tip or like a piece of advice that you've found that has been working for you that other musicians should follow?
I think although there's not one pathway for every person, I think like you said it with consistency. For me, I think consistency has been one of the key components. And part of that consistency, it gets more experience. Like for example, I'll just set up the camera and record an improvisation. I don't need the conditions to be perfect. Sure, sometimes do I want higher budget stuff? Great, I'll plan and budget for it down the line. But I'm not going to let imperfect conditions prohibit me or prevent me from doing what I need to do, because it's not only things can serve multiple purposes. You're recording, you're getting good at the limelight being on you, and you're saving material. You can be spontaneous when you create material and have it recorded and saved. And then, yeah, sure, with piano, it's easier because you can put the phone on the fall board on the end, but it just enables you to get some daily content. And just you put me on and a couple other people to YouTube Shorts and how valuable they can be in growing the getting followers, how Shorts have been a big way into that. And I think a lot of it, again, is not paying too much attention to the numbers, but really having a vision of what I want to create musically, different projects I want to be engaged in, and being consistent with putting content out and trusting that things will grow steadily. And if something blows up like in a great way, then that's awesome too. But I'm not going to be deterred by numbers not being what I want every time. And I think that can be a big deterrent. And it's tough because like Instagram, I remember at one point for the reels, before it was more pay to play, Instagram at one point you could hit on a reel early on for a lot of views, but then there is a breaking point where it became you really needed to do paid advertisements. Now I do some of those, but all to say is it was hard at first to not, look at it and see it for what it was and keep going, because it's just kind of frustrating. But yeah, I think consistency is worth it in the end, especially if you trust and believe in your product and what you and your music, your art.
Yeah. That's the big thing that people. I mean, again, I own a marketing company, so this is a lot of the stuff that I give businesses advice. They pay me to do it, but just consistently putting things out is literally the foundation of growing your following online, whether you're a business or a musician. But that's also what those algorithms want to see. That's what those channels want to see. Like, honestly, like that's kind of how you figure out what's working too, and what hashtags and what formats you're building your tribe and your community and your following is the big thing. So I think really trying to figure that out. Like, I was posting some stuff on my The Luke Eccles on YouTube, and it's a mix of, Sunblind music and like funny stuff and like Trump impressions and whatever. Like, is
it you doing the impressions?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Wrong.
Oh my gosh, I have to get on that.
Yeah. So, but I had a guy that was just like, you're a really good musician. Like, you should do like I don't think he knew that I was. Sure. I was in a band or anything. He's like, why aren't you doing more of that? Like, because the political stuff, like people are, saying and everything. I'm getting views on it, but it's just I'm just messing with everybody.
Yeah, it's just super polarizing. People are trying to find like where you stand.
Like, sure, you're a Trump, or I'm like, actually, I didn't vote for any of them. Like,
right.
Yeah, but doing that consistent content. The guy was like, you should concentrate more on music. And I was like, go to this channel. Like,
that's awesome.
And it's like, now you have a guy that just said he really liked my music.
Sure.
He's like, you should do more of that. And now he's following us on our music channel.
Natural cross promoting.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like cross promoting. And also I tell everybody, especially, I can tell the musicians this, but like some of my clients, I'll tell them, but it's a fuck around and find out environment. That's what it is. It's, you're not only figuring out the algorithm and how it works for your channel and when to put all that stuff out, but it's also like figuring out what content works for you. Like, be natural. Like, what do you enjoy doing? What goes with your personality?
Love that.
Really, and that's the thing, is that's what people gravitate towards is when you're putting out authentic stuff that you enjoy. Like, we all see these guys that are out there and they're like, they're doing those like, excuse me, sir, like, do you have $1 to spare? Like like where they're grabbing for attention, for their
please with
clickbait
money and stuff. Yeah.
Like, yeah, they get, of course there are videos out there that works, but if you really want to build something that's true to what you're doing, which is musicians, is to really hone in, like, what do you enjoy doing? What, like, do you enjoy doing like covers and like playing guitar riffs? Like, get a little set up and do that. Like,
right.
Figure out
take a step.
Yeah, figure out what works for you. Make it fun. Make it authentic. Get other people involved. That's really the big thing and that's the cool thing that I think I was in that place a year ago where like everybody from the band left. They were in other bands, and I was like, that's fine. Like, I was crazy busy at the time, and I kind of took a step back, and I was like, okay, how do I want to approach Sunblind? Definitely not throwing in the towel, but I want to do this smart. And part of it was, I was like, collaborations. Like, you see that in rap music, and in like hip hop and R&B, and that's how Little Dicky got really big. I don't know if you've ever watched his show, Dave. But like, it's kind of like
I've heard good things. I haven't seen
it.
But I've heard really good things.
It's really good. And he's also
some from you.
He's also a local. He's from Cheltenham, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's from that area. But basically what he did was, he had the talent. He has great music. So again, that is the key. You want to hone your craft. Sure. Like, that is a key thing. I'm not throwing that out. Everybody's like, well, you gotta have good music. I'm like, I understand that. We're past that. Like, this is
gotta be established.
That stuff is being created in a vacuum. How do you get out of that vacuum and get it to the world? But what he did was I think he said he took his bar mitzvah money because he's Jewish, and he like paid it was like Little Yachty, or it was like one of the big rappers at the time, to be in his music video.
Wow.
And I think it was like one of the third episode on the show, Dave, like they reenacted how it worked, and of course they did like a funny light. But that's the thing about Little Dicky, is his music is he's like the antithesis of gangster rap. He's a white Jewish rapper, and he raps about having a small dick. Like, that's a lot of his rap. So,
which is honestly a lot of security and confidence when it comes down to it.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, like, he doubles down on that humor and the fact that he's not what everybody else is out there in the rap game.
It's important. I say sometimes it's more important to be distinct than good. Not that he's not good, but like, distinction in vocals too, like, is important. Like, standing out and leaning into a word you use was authenticity. For me, I'm trying to do a little bit of more things showing my personality, because people want to see, and I'm learning where they want to see what makes you tick beyond the music. Especially a lot of my stuff doesn't have words to it, so I'm trying to give people more glimpse into the personality in socials, which is harder because, like anything else, it's the piano vulnerability for sure. The piano stuff was vulnerable years ago, like when I was recording every day, but now it's a second nature. So it's almost like you're never too skilled or you're never above making yourself vulnerable. And so it's almost like with the piano videos, I'm at one level, but in terms of personal vulnerability, I'm down here, and it's like cutting my teeth starting again, trying to get consistent with that too. So I think there's a balance of people want to know your authentic self, and they want to, of course, hear where you strive in your niche with the art too.
Right.
And again, a lot of it's just the stage of, you said, fucking around and finding out, and just not letting inconsistent results create inconsistent process, because the results will come if you keep the process going.
Right.
And you stay process oriented.
Well, you just kind of said that, you just gave a good example too, and you might be able to relate with this, but people will always ask me, especially when like just met me or they haven't seen it, and they'll be like, "Are you nervous? Like, you're playing in like a half an hour. Are you okay?" Like, I've been playing for like 20 years now. Like, yeah, like 10 years ago, like when our band wasn't as tight, and like, I was very nervous about, we're gonna mess up on this song. Like, oh, the bassist showed up a half an hour late at least. Like,
someone's gotta.
Yeah, exactly.
One of them does.
But like, but that's where like you level up, where it's just like that's not the thing that's on your mind because you've been consistent for so long playing shows, and you've played horrible shows, and you've been at horrible, like you've been through it. So now it's like that's not even in your mind. Is like I'm nervous because I'm playing in front of a bunch of people. Now it's like, how can I improve on that? How can I really like grab their attention even more? So like that's kind of like
the performance tricks is what
that is the proof in the pudding of the consistency,
right?
And
it comes back to the stuff you're talking about earlier with the touring bands and the performing like cadence and canter like of everything. Like for me, like my jazz fusion combo Joe Kenney band, aptly named after myself, but like that's the one where I am the front man. So like if I am going to get nervous, it's not about the performances. Like we have played I feel like hundreds of shows at this point, but it's more about, again, the stuff that's more vulnerable for me, the front manning, the different things that like, and like you're saying, it's more about fine tuning and how do we connect better than being like, this is so stressful, because it's the experience again breeds the confidence, it breeds the, a little bit of fearlessness.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The last time I actually got nervous, and I'm sure I'll be retelling the story when he's on the podcast, but we were playing like an emo, and it was Sunblind's CD release show. We were playing at this horrible basement bar here. I won't even say the name of the place, where tickles are free. And we were playing an emo night, and we did a Sunblind set, and then a bunch of us in the band were playing in the cover band set, and we were playing Taking Back Sunday, Make Goddamn Sure. Yeah. And the other band that was playing with us was The Color Fred. Fred was in Taking Back Sunday. He wrote that album.
Oh, wow.
And I was playing his parts, and actually I was playing the rhythm. I wasn't playing the lead stuff, but I was singing his parts, and I got some of the chords like he does play. So I hadn't been nervous while playing in a while, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is like everybody's favorite one of their favorite Taking Back Sunday songs. And the guy that wrote it is like standing in front of me. So that was the only that was like that was a new level,
dude. Yeah, that's an outlier.
Like, I think I would be nervous because like the ceiling's like right here in this place. It's not that impressive.
Was their band playing that night or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was awesome. They actually played. I forget which. I know I recorded it, but they played at least one Taking Back Sunday song.
That's cool.
And I actually think that was one of the first times Fred did a Taking Back Sunday song like with The Color Fred, because I think he was really at first kind of trying to separate his name and build a little bit more of a following, not based off of like, oh, I was in Taking Back Sunday, because it's kind of like every ex-member of a bigger band, like that's kind of like an easy like, throw in the hat for them is like, oh, like we were in this band. So,
although it's also, and I feel you, but I feel like that's also
he really did build a name for himself without riding off of that.
That's awesome, because it can be a good way to kind of like parlay some momentum using it a little bit, but that's definitely admirable and noble. Yeah. He didn't want that to be like a crossover thing.
He's also he's such an amazing musician that it was smart on his behalf.
And one of the song you mentioned, that's one that we are going to do a potential duo collab on, right? That's a good song.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
For
when you covered the song,
I think it went well. I mean, he complimented me, and I was like,
"That's nice."
I think I was more nervous about the compliments. I'm like, that's when I was like, did he really think it was good? Or
it's the musician overthinker, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's part of it.
You need to just not care. You need to care, but not care.
It's a fine line. Yeah,
it's a balance.
It's like sincerity, but like it's not worrying.
It's a caring in the way of what can I learn from this? What can I take away? How do I grow from it? But not taking those points where you're like, okay, like I screwed up on this part of the song, or I did this wrong.
Right.
And not beating yourself up, but just being like, okay, next time I know what to practice now, or I know.
And that's such a healthy mindset. It's like caring with intent to move forward always. Yeah. It's like, it's really healthy.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to grow and you want to move, like one of my dad's big quotes is like, at the end of the day, do you want excuses or results?
I love that.
You can argue, and I love it because, like I'll give him excuses. I'll be like, hey, did you do this? And I'll be like, I had this and I had that. And he'll be like, cool, sounds like excuses. I'm like, yeah, but and it's just like, cool. Like you can have those excuses, but like, you're just not going to have the results.
I love that. Yeah.
You're allowed to have those excuses all you want, but you're not going to have both.
It's so hard to hear that thing from like your dad though, because like it's true and like you need to hear it, but it's like at first like, damn, that stuff. Like my dad has a similar quote that's like basically speaking about if you're going to get angry about something, like he says I think he says if you're going to throw the club, like throw it in the direction of the hole, or like kick the ball in the direction of the hole, something like that with like golf. And like you can be angry, but it has to be forwarding. Like you gotta like take your criticisms of yourself and forward it to your goal, because if not, it's just an excuse to mire, like you're saying, and not move forward, not get results. So yeah, that's cool. But I know like when he said that to me first, is like I needed to hear it, but I also was like not quite in the space. I was like, damn, that's so true.
Dude,
but like
sometimes it pisses me off, and like
right.
But honestly, like you want to grow, man. Like one of my favorite. Did you ever watch Lost?
Yeah, I love that show.
Do you remember the scene where it was with Locke and it was with the guy that played Charlie, who was a guy from Lord of the Rings, and he had a heroin addiction?
Yep.
And
I know the characters.
Locke found his stash of heroin from the plane, and Charlie was jonesing. He was just like he was pale, he was sweating, and he's shaking, and he was getting violent. And Locke literally goes like, I could give you this drug. And he literally took this cocoon, and it was a butterfly. And he's like, he made this analogy. He goes, so there's something that's going to be a butterfly in this. He goes, but they have to struggle their way to break through this cocoon. And he goes, I could easily take this knife and just cut a little hole, make it easier for him. He goes, but if that butterfly doesn't struggle and work its way through breaking that, it's not going to develop the muscles. It's not going to develop the intelligence, the know-how on how it's going to survive with those necessary skills.
Right.
And like, it was a very quick scene, and I thought it was one of the deepest
it's an awesome memory.
Life lessons. It's like, yeah, like you're struggling, but if you keep trudging through, you keep that mindset, it could be something that really helps you in the long run.
Yeah.
And something that you're working on, because that's how we learn. We learn through tragedy. We learn through struggle. We learn,
Yeah, the willingness to like sit with struggle and to hear some things you need to hear but don't want to hear. That's something I've been working on. And I know that you and I talked, I was going through like a rough time like a years ago, and we talked about like how important it is to kind of like sit with the struggle and like control and own your mind, and how that's where a lot of the success is bred, and the things that aren't great and that aren't romanticized. It's just like struggle, but sticking with it is where the beautiful art and some things come from, and the development comes from.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the problems in our society right now is everybody has this Amazon mindset of it's gonna be tomorrow or the next day,
or give me $1 credit if I wait 3 days.
Right. and like honestly, anything worth doing in your life isn't gonna be easy. It's not gonna be overnight. Like, yeah, you could win the lottery and have millions of dollars. Yeah, your bank could get signed, or get, Post Malone stumbles upon you and has you, like that stuff happens. It's winning the lottery. But really, like the success and even the self-worth of just feel like you don't even have to be a big rock star. Like, I remember when I worked at Sam Ash, I'd have guys come in who just retired. They were like 68. They retired from the post office or whatever their job was. And they're like, yeah, like I've been thinking about, I've always wanted to play guitar, but I'm not going to be a rock star and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, gives a fuck whether you're going to be a rock star, man. I don't play guitar to be a rock star. Like I play guitar for me. Like it's the therapy. It's the getting that emotion out. Like that's, again, like when have you ever written one of your favorite songs when you were in a good mood or when things were going well? Like sometimes you do, but what is it? If things are going well, what is usually the song about? It's about that struggle that was 2 months ago,
right? And how you're out of it,
and you're finally
right.
You've been thinking about it, and you've had time to really let it ruminate in your head, and now like it's brewing, and now it's coming out. And
that's what people relate to as the best stuff too. I remember someone was saying about like Florence and the Machine put out some good material, and it's like. Right when the lead singer was going through some heartbreak, and someone joked with her like it had been a couple of years since she wrote something. I think I could be quoting this specifically wrong, but the spirit of it is of like how much heartbreak led to such vulnerable and cathartic art for her, and that speaks to your point for sure about like, I know for me too, my best work, and I don't write as many vocal stuff, but I know like sometimes when I'm like feeling really damn sad, I gotta be singing, gotta try some lyrics. Like that's when the most honest stuff, and I'm out of my head and just into my heart, like comes out during the struggle, during the difficult parts.
So these are some of the reoccurring questions that I've been asking people, but
Sure.
what's your funniest moment that you've ever had, like either playing on stage or like, you know, I mean, again, we don't really do a lot of touring because we're more local, but I mean, regionally touring, there's got to be some sort of funny, I can't believe this just happened moment on stage.
Yeah, there's a couple. I'll start with the local one with Dad and Company. We're playing across the street at Root Down, and
beer, by the way.
Yeah, good.
Food.
And I don't even know if they paid you for that spot there, but that's awesome that you're just
beer.
There you go. But so I moonlight as a Grateful Dead keyboardist, and that's what I do in that band. But like some of the jams get really intense. We got some monster players in there, and I had 2 keyboard stands. One, because I am messy, I'd misplaced, so I'd use a backup one. But we're in the middle of a jam, and I don't even realize it, but like getting more intense. And then if you watch the video back, because again, I video everything, you see everyone else could clearly see the keyboard moving off the stand. My $4,000 Nord, 4,000 plus. We're not at the peak yet, and it's like it's creeping up to like fall off, and which was just like not only wreck the keyboard, but just kill the peak, really create an intense, embarrassing moment. But I had to be the last person to realize it. Thankfully, when I did, my reflexes were like ESPN top 10, like as it's falling, I like catch it, bring it back onto the keyboard, onto the stand. Thankfully, Greg, guitarist, is like sees this and is just like really playing like thick chords and like filling everything out so we don't lose the peak energy. Right. It's just like such a split hair moment. Just thinking of it gets me like nervous that I almost like wrecked that keyboard. And it was funny looking back on it too, just for my obliviousness to not even recognize it. When I watch it back, I almost want to like yell at myself, like, come on, get your keyboard, put it back on the stand.
That's a good content clip too.
It was. I tried to leverage that for like keyboardist is completely unaware as keyboard almost slips. Watch to see what happens.
Keep like posted, man.
And that's one thing you encouraged me to do. I was a purist at one point for no reason, because you're like I remember you had told me it's not like the same people are seeing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be different people.
We get in our own way, yeah.
And I finally started doing that, and that's where I finally hit the threshold of over 1K subs, broke free from that, what I thought was noble, but is more, rooted in pride. Now I'll repost some things if once in a while, especially the things I really personally enjoy content-wise.
That's one of the things I learned from, I mean, again, I learn a lot from Gary Vaynerchuk. Big fan. I know we talked about him, but that's one of the things that he's talked a lot about is like repurposing content, especially content that already worked. You know, it's going to grab people. But sometimes you have a piece of content that didn't, and it could have been you posted at a bad time. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't relevant. You could have something that, you know, like for instance, the video that I posted that I tagged the Lore Lodge on in January when I was in Florida. It was like a bunch of clips of being like, the chupacabra sent my wife dirty messages and stole my trash can. It was like all these clips, and I reposted this thing and did, you know, the whatever you just do another time. Remix. And it didn't get any views. And then all of a sudden, like it was like right when I came back from Florida, it was like a Friday or so. I'm sitting in the living room and like I got a notification. Facebook is like, congratulations, your video got 7,000 views today. And I was like, what? And I like look, I'm like, posted that. When did I even post that? That's awesome. 2 months ago. And then it just kept going. Like the next day it was at 110,000. I was like, okay, all right, I love that. This is going viral. And it's like you just never know. Right. But also like you could have something you posted from a year ago that wasn't even like, you know, it might not have even been relevant. You know,
Right.
a news report that
Might have been ahead of its time. Who knows?
A meme going around about like that subject or whatever.
Right.
But also,
I'm inspired. I'm going to be reposting mad shit now.
Dude, that keyboard falling thing is like, you could take that, and this is some advice for all of you musicians out there. You could take the same clip, you could cut it down to just it falling. You could do all kinds of things with, you know, pop-up phrases.
Sure.
You could, I mean, there's probably going to be something, you know, like you could make a joke about the boat hitting the bridge in Baltimore, you know, like
right.
Like, I mean, like, maybe that's distasteful, but like, you get the idea. Like, there's things that happen in the news and you can relate it to, so that it is on topic for that trending hashtag. But also, you know, you can do it with YouTube Shorts. This is one of the things I taught you, and this is something you guys should write down, start implementing. But YouTube, the Shorts are very centered around the title, the hashtags,
Right.
Also in the back end when you're filling out what the topic of the video is, make sure that's correct. So the tags, if you get all that right, and you can play around with that for different things, like you could take that same clip and get, you know, 5-6 different posts at different times with that same clip, just reworking it or like editing it for something else, or editing into the end of a clip of something that already went viral, and that's the end. You know, like there's so many things you can do. Like I save in my phone different folders for different things, so it's like if I see a viral video going on, it has something to do with something I posted before, I'm like, okay, I can add this as the ending clip, or, you know, like
that's awesome to keep a
like,
running list.
I have that saved, you know, or like if I record something or I have something on my phone that I know is gonna be a potential like big view because I've been doing it for so long, you just kind of know, like, all right, like right. My friend Jen sent me her husky jumped out the second story window of her house when a guy was walking by. He was just standing on the little, like, you know, roof part that goes out this part, and there's a guy walking by. He's just like, husky on the roof, like a cat. And as soon as he goes by, the dog jumps. Like 15 feet. He was fine, and then he just like walks around like, yeah, I'm here. Like,
I saw that the man was more startled than the dog.
The man was far more startled. I mean, like Ash definitely took a face plant too, like, and just got up and just walked around.
Is that something you think the dog does often?
Oh, dude, the huskies.
Oh man, that was wild.
I love huskies, but I would never own a husky.
So you posted, or tell me where?
So I only posted that once on Facebook. So that got like 20,000 views.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But like,
I was a good 100.
But here's the thing: is like, now, like, I just took the clip. Now you could take a trending viral song that goes with it.
Sure.
You know, like,
it's already
I could take "Sugar We're Going Down" and, like, you know, like, and make it emo, like, you know, like, there's so many.
Then it's relevant to your band and like this type of stuff you do too.
There's so
tie
many
it back
things
into the music content. Yeah.
Clip. So it's like
or one of your own songs too. I do that for shorts and for TikTok ones. The songs that I do through, whether it's DistroKid or CD Baby or just like any aggregate, like I will do some humor content under Father Buckets, and then I'll put like one of my own songs in the background.
Yeah, you just put like low in the mix so you can still hear the talking.
You can still hear it,
like,
but still get the royalties on it.
That's another thing is like, and then people are saying like, Joe Kenney. Oh, like, because sometimes people will be like, what's that music? You know, like. Sure. And then also, like, they have the chance now to use that tune. If they like that tune, they could use it for their video.
And that's just a great habit to get into. Because, again, more times than not, like 9 times out of 10, it might get lost. But, I mean, like, you need to be consistent enough and not deterred that you're setting yourself up for a position where when it does hit, like, you did those little things consistently at the right time. Yeah. So, and kept it going.
And here's another piece of advice that I probably don't do enough because I'm not great at asking for help. So maybe this will be our challenge, but like, everybody has friends around them that want to help. They want your music to succeed. They want to succeed. They want to see you push stuff out there. It's like, ask friends to use your music in the videos they're putting out in the background. Like, be like, hey, like, you can do this. Like, asking friends, like, hey, if you like that post, like, repost it. You know, comment. You know, like,
love that.
Maybe they don't have the money to support you financially, but in the end, you know, like, I make money off of the pictures and the videos I post for my channels. Like,
and they want to help you.
They want to help you. They want to see you succeed.
That's a great way. That's a great idea. I need to do that more.
Another big thing I'm starting to do now is, because I'm making money off these. It's not a lot, but it's a start. Is like, take selfies with your friends when they show up to shows. Like I'm not good because I'm at like, and I'm trying to get better. And also my bassist Sam is helping me out with this because he does photography, but
Cool.
like taking pictures with the people that show up and reposting them on your Facebook page, repost like, and it's almost like a thank you too. Like the next day you go like, we had a great time last night. Here's some pictures. And it's also just showcasing like, hey, like all of us were just hanging out. We had a fun time. Like that's what attracts people. People want to go to shows. Like look at the Sound Bank right now or Rec Room.
Yeah.
Like people didn't know they were there for the first couple months, but now it's like, I just go there like Friday. Okay. Like I don't have anything to do. I'm going to town. I don't care who's playing. Like I want to go see some music.
It's good community, good hang there all the time.
Yeah, and
drinks,
they book vibes. Good acts. Like
they do a great
they're not
job.
just booking stuff where you're like, like
no, they're consistently good. Yeah,
and like they have good beer, they have good drinks. Like it's a good environment. Like it's a safe environment.
Staff is great. Like
it's not a late night bar where you're worried about like whatever. Like
sure,
it's early in the day. Like it's like it starts at 8. It's usually over at the latest by like 10:30. Like so you go there like that's your first round of couple drinks with friends hanging out, and then you bar hop. But if you're playing at those shows, like show that it's a community, show that you have people coming. It's also kind of like a thank you. Like people, like some people, not everybody wants to be online. Like
you can ask them, but like most times they'll be happy to.
Like people want to be involved. People want to feel like they're a part of it. Make them feel like they're a part of it. Make them feel like they're a part of the community you're building. So I mean, that's kind of the thing. Some of the things like I've been learning is showcase. Like everybody knows those bands where like the one music video they put out was really just kind of like live shots of them playing on stage and like shenanigans on tour and stuff
right.
But like you could do that with your local shows with your friends, like group of friends, like singing in front of you, like get those shots, like include your friends, like be like, hey, like we're gonna maybe do a show where you're like, hey, we have this song, we want to do a live music video. Whoever's coming out is going to be in this music video.
That's awesome.
So like that's one of the things my buddy Alex Sadek, who's in the Go Around, he's in Nashville now. It's one of the things that it was kind of the game changer was when I got divorced, I started going to a lot of shows, started playing more. And one of the things that he said was instead of saying like, hey, we have a show coming up, like there's always shows. Like, sometimes there's like in this town, there's 5 shows in a weekend sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
You've got all these different venues. You've got all these different things going on in the area. Make it an event. So if you've got a t-shirt coming out or a new hat, be like, hey guys, like we're releasing this at this show. Like we might sell out. Like sometimes bands only do 30 hats.
Create scarcity.
Make it a FOMO.
You told me about this too. You passed this on to me about like, and then I've been trying to incorporate this. Every new show has to have a different angle. That's a different like promotional angle or community angle. I love the idea of
fundraisers. Great idea. Yeah.
I love the idea of like your buds who are essentially super fans that love your songs, like that are singing them back, like even just like guerrilla marketing type of like footage of them singing the song, whether it's a really well thought out music video, which is great too, or like you're saying, announcing we're going to do a live video here, or even just again putting in the content piece of getting a clip for socials of your buds, like being hyped about your music, drinking, having a good time, whatever people are doing. Like it's a great tie-in.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, I just found some clips from one of the last Soundbank shows we played with Liam's girlfriend, Kate, over at Rec Room, like throwing underwear on the stage while we were playing. It's literally just raining. She brought like 20 pairs of, she said she bought them new. I hope they were new.
It's good that you're recording though, man. You don't.
I'm glad I have those.
You're finding stuff. Yeah, you're finding stuff you had no clue you had. A lot of that's some gold.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing, but my roommate Kevin was filming, and I just threw everything into a Dropbox folder, and I was going through it the other day. I was like, oh shit, I have all this content. I got really happy. I was like, oh man, I have this.
Right.
But it's like little things like that. Like build a community, like get people involved. People want to get involved. If they're your friends, they'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, I have a good core group now that are happy to reshare things, to almost be like a street team in that way, hang some flyers, but yeah, they want to feel like you said, that they're part of the momentum, that they're integral to your success or your leveling up.
Yeah. Yeah, I that was one of the things I noticed too around that time when Alex gave me that advice was the Wonder Years, and I didn't really follow them that much, but when I think they got on my map, my radar, was they put out this music video, and I don't remember the name of the song. It was one of their earlier records. It was like something about like friends or something like that, and it was like a stripped down acoustic, like punk song, and they kind of filmed it like the guitarist and lead singer Soupy were like sitting in the living room, and he starts like singing while he's playing guitar, and like friends start filing in with like beer and pizza, and like and the funny thing is like I was like, oh man, Mike is it like I knew Mike from what bands were Mike in? I'm slipping my mind, but Mike Daughtry is like he's been in like 5 or 6 different bands from the music scene. If Dave Heck was here, he was on the last episode, he would know what bands he was in. But like I saw a bunch of people, like girls that I knew from the Lansdale music scene. It was like one of those things where I think it was probably like a limited, like, hey, we're gonna shoot this music video. We need 30 people, like, and people came, and it was kind of. I think it's what really kind of blew them up. Like they were big in the local music scene, but that's when people that really hadn't heard them, like me, or hadn't checked them out, like that's when they kind of hit my radar because it was like all my friends were in that music video.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just like tips like that, like just like try to get people involved. If your friends believe in your music, like they'll be more than willing to help.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, each show has to be a new endeavor, a new entity in its own right. You can't, like you're saying, it can't just be, here's another show. It's like, no, we're featuring this person, or here's a merch launch. And I like, again, with the scarcity is great. We only have 30 hats, 30 shirts. And I like, since not as many people have CD players, like sometimes I make sure, again, I have good marketing on the CD covers, like with either a QR code or website or both. At some of the solo shows, I'll be like, yeah, take a CD, but here's also a QR code for my next show with the full band.
Right.
So using some different low key outlets to promote other things too.
Are you selling CDs?
So I have CDs for sale. Yeah.
Are you still seeing people still buy them?
Sometimes, a lot of times I'll say, feel free to tip, but you can take it, like a CD, because I like that the music's getting out there. But some people throw a 20 in there because like they want to be paying for it and pay for like what they think it would be. If I'm like, just throw a tip in there, you can grab a CD. A lot of times I sell them for 15, but I don't even announce that. A lot of times people throw in a 20. Now, in terms of accounting, I'm not as adept at how I should attribute that.
Sure.
But I do feel like that's been a good way to get people to essentially pay more than I would usually, because the art is more a novelty at some point, because
sure,
you can go on Spotify or Bandcamp or anywhere to get the music, but I think the art can be a novelty for people, and it can be a means to help out. People like to, like you said, support. People that are going to throw in a tip, they're going to support, love to make you feel like, as a small business owner, because it's part of what you're doing as a musician, like that you're connecting. And so if they like what you do.
Another thing, if you're a musician, you are a small business owner, which means you like, it's an excuse when you're like, I'm not good at that. It's like, cool, I wasn't good at it when I started. Like, if you really want to be a musician, you want to do it full time, you're going to get screwed if you don't. Like, how do you like people dipping into your pockets? Like,
you got to embrace that you are a business owner.
You got to figure it out, and you got to, like, that is the big thing, is just like, because otherwise you're going to get burnt out at the end of the day, because you're going to be like, man, this is a lot of work and I'm not getting anything. Like, as happy as you could be, sometimes at the end of the day when you've got bills and especially if you got kids, like, we all have responsibilities. All of our responsibilities are at different levels.
Sure.
But, if you really want to make a big thing out of it, like, that's why I say, like, people that are in local bands, when they have members that just don't show up, and it's usually the members like, I want to do this for a living, man. I want to be a musician. It's like, fucking show up, man.
Show up is a great baseline, for sure.
Like not only showing up, but being prepared, like,
right.
And again, like, we all have stuff going on. We all have different priorities, but it's like, if you really want to be in a local band and you want to have fun with it, like, put in the work. But like, even like putting in the work, like, the feeling when you play a local show and people are singing your lyrics in front of you, dude, like, it's dumbfounding.
Hell yeah. Makes it all worth it. It really
does. But it takes work. Like that, like, it just doesn't happen.
And that's why, like, even me, I sometimes have to fight. Like, you got to get over the bashfulness, and like, you got to pitch what you have out there. You gotta be like, this is the link. This is the new thing coming out. Like, when you're working into your performance banter, whether it's only a little bit for the hour shows or it's kind of to bring it back to the beginning there, but like, you got to work that stuff in shamelessly because you're busting your ass off anyway doing it. There's no room to then not be your biggest promoter. If you want, and might be a Gary Vee-ism too, if you want like people to support you, you're the boss of your own company. Like, you got to promote yourself too. Yeah. You got to care about it if you expect anyone else to care about it. And you got to care about the most because no one's going to care about it as much as you.
Yeah, I would like. Again, like, I don't have that ego and that like proud sense of self-worth as much. And so like, that's the one thing, like, people ask me about the band and I usually will just shy away because I'm like, I don't like just talking about myself, but they want to know. And honestly, like, you're a musician, so you already have a team. You have bandmates. Like, build that team.
Right, built-in team.
One thing I really like about my new bass player, Sam, is like, everybody here in town knows me, like, for the most part.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that don't know I'm a musician. They don't know I'm in a band. Like, people that I see every weekend, they don't know. And when Sam joined the band, like, Sam goes around, he's just like, hey, my band's playing at record. Like, he tells everybody. And like,
yes.
Like, yeah, it could be like, some people could be annoyed by that, but like, he does it in a very like, hey man, like, if you want, like, we're playing, like, I don't like to do it because like, I've always worked with those musicians. They're just like, yeah, man, check my band out. We're like, you know, it's like very like cocky, like, yeah, I'm in a band. Like, but he does it in just a way like, hey, I'm in a band. Like, check it out. Like, we're playing. They're like, oh, okay. So like, I've had friends that like, our mutual friends would come up and they'd be like, I didn't know you were in a band.
That's wild to me. Yeah. Because I know you through that aspect too, but that's cool.
And like, yeah. And I just assume they knew, but like, never assume.
It's great to, like, you called it, it's a built-in team, your bandmates. And you're great at so many things with marketing, with obviously the musical stuff tenfold, but like, to have someone in there that's not afraid to like straight up be consistent about being like, yo, I'm in a band, we're pretty damn good. Like, humble about it sounds like, but he's just happy to push you. And then between, you know, if you have 3 people or 4 people, but between the bandmates, a collection of talents goes goes a long way.
It's funny because he was telling me this last night before we did our jam session. And we played this emo night. Nick Makes Noise. He's doing emo nights here at Trouble's End Brewing outside the town of Collegeville. And awesome. He's got one coming up this Friday during your gig. Okay. I mean, this probably isn't going to air in time, but Joe is playing the Sound Bank, a.k.a. Rec Room, this Friday. And he said that like one of his friends came to the show and they're like, yo, man, like, I really didn't think I was going to like the band you're in. But like, I really liked, I mean, he was like, what the fuck? What do you mean?
I like that.
And the guy goes, I don't know, man. Like, I've seen like all the bands like you're friends with, like I've seen them and I'm like, I wasn't really, I think like, cause he does a lot of like cover band stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that they like original music. So I think they were going out like thinking like they were going to hear some original music and they're like, I don't want to hear the Killers. Like, so it's just funny that they like, and Nick was kind of like
super blunt,
sore about it. But at the same time, he was like, I mean, it was good.
It's a weird compliment, but cool. And it looked like that show you guys did there was a hit, man. It seemed like it was pretty good.
Dude, so the thing is, like, Trouble's End is a brewery. They have really good food, really good beer. The beer with the stout they had was really good.
Big stout fan.
Listen, I'm a huge stout guy, and right
all
now,
seasons.
That's the problem is you can't get stouts all seasons.
Like, I would if I could, though. That's what I rock with.
That's why I love Root down here in town.
You always got one.
You always have one.
Yeah.
But Trouble's End had like 2, which I love the high end.
I'm in trouble.
I have the like 11, I love the 11% ones.
The Imperial 8-ounces.
The ones that are just like you're like
this is small but mighty.
You're drinking, yeah, that's what I thought. Like just like me, like, right, ladies. But like it's like a meal in a small glass.
Oh yeah.
And but they had really good food. They have a really cool stage there.
Great spot.
It's a cool vibe. It's a weird building.
Yeah.
Because like it's on the 2nd floor and you walk in and it's funny, they should have a video camera right there. They probably do. But like they probably get at least 20, 30 people a day walking in being like,
right, you're not sure where the bar is or that you're there.
No, not into the Troubles End into the building,
right?
Because like you walk in
like
and
a
there's
gym there
there's
too.
like there's
a photo place.
It's kind of like
strip mall, or like
it's kind of if it was like it kind of reminds me of like almost like Philadelphia strip malls because it's like it's a big building but it's not a mall.
Right.
And it has like you walk in, I think there's like a music lesson place. So there's always
a dance studio. Yeah,
there's a dance studio. There's an insurance agent, and this is like all the first floor.
And then this damn good bar,
and then like a brewery on the second floor. So and there's an elevator, but it's a very weird building, and it's in Collegeville. So it's not like there aren't a lot of buildings in college, like level buildings and multi businesses. So it's behind the Collegeville Diner. So it's like right in the heart of it. It's a cool spot, but yeah, he's starting to do emo shows, emo nights, which is cool because it's not. I feel like a lot of like emo nights are kind of like they're competing in like in town and in like late night bars, and so like they have their own different problems and their own different reputations. So I like the fact that like it's at a brewery, so it's a little bit more, it's clean. It's not like a dirty bar in a basement or something like that.
Yeah, they run a good show over there.
Yeah, it's a good spot, good vibe. I was doing a Save the Schuylkill event the next morning, so I had to be up at 5:15 in the morning after our show. So that's a real rock star.
That's
life.
Rock and roll. Yeah.
Yeah, not partying all night. I mean, like I got home at like 1.
It's powering through the hangover the next day.
it's like I wasn't hungover. I definitely they gave us drink tickets, and I'm like, I can't not drink these meal tickets.
Yeah, it'd be rude.
Right, it'd be a waste of my pay. I got up the next day and was just like, I hate life. But like,
there you go, the rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Kept
man.
going.
I went and cleaned up in Lancaster for 5 hours. Like, did a river road clean. Yeah. But
I had 2 sleep cycles left. I'll have it be known probably at that point.
Right? Yeah, I know. I think I texted my dad that morning. He's like, "Why are you up?
Nice.
What did you do?
What's wrong?"
Yeah, he's like, yeah. He's like, "Are you okay?"
Nice.
Like, yeah, I just got this thing. But what is your favorite venue to play in the area? Give me like a couple of venues that you really like. Sure. So I know you've played the 118 in North Wayne.
Yeah, I've played there, and I want to start super local. Root Down has always been like awesome to me, and did a beer collab with me and Mike, who runs an awesome show over there.
Mike.
And they do a great job at TBD Bar too. And he's given me so many opportunities, and just I love their branding. I always go in there and I say like, I wish I had the money to just buy like 2 of every one of your shirts and like different things. Like, so big fan of TBD Bar, which is the sister bar to Root Down, and their beer garden out there is great. Rec Room's becoming a favorite spot too. I love how they run sound there too. Always been a big fan of Chris Bailey with Soundbank.
Yeah.
He's doing really great things. 118 is awesome. Like, they had me for some solo things, and the Proper Hustlers have done things out there too. But there's a ton of good spots around here. I mean, like, for different iterations. Like Lock 29 had me for solo. I love doing little solo hits there. Bluebird, same. But full band show.
Love that spot.
Yeah, that's a good spot too. And they have different locations, and really proud of just to keep it super local, like how bustling Phoenixville really is becoming. And you guys doing your thing's part of that, but it's a really great area for music and arts.
You played the Colonial, did you guys schedule that show?
Yeah, we rescheduled. We had a comedy thing scheduled there, but Colonial's great too. I know my friends Jess and Andrew run Earth Song Creative Arts, and they ran a festival there, which is really cool. And big fan of the whole team over at the Colonial. Probably do something down the line there. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I went to the they did when we had Hurricane Ida hit here in Phoenixville. If you're a local, you know about it. It was about 2-3 years. I think about 3 years this fall.
I forget the names, but no.
Yeah,
that's the one. Montclair was really.
Yeah, Montclair got wrecked, like just wrecked. I want to say there are parts of the Schuylkill River where I know the trestle bridge down in Oaks, that's behind the Oaks Center. It's got to be like 30, 40 feet off the river. There's driftwood attached to the bottom of it from the river being that high. Like it flooded houses. People were out of electricity for almost. There were some people that like never even got it back. Like they basically FEMA kind of took over, and that was a debacle too. Was like, it's government. Like, you ever want to put government in charge of things, have fun. Like
It's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, it's gonna do like
the very least.
there's nobody to complain to. So but that was the cool thing about this area was Phoenixville really stepped in. Like that's why I love this area is like we had all these people that were homeless, people lost their houses, they lost their personal items and Phoenixville Lock 29 basically. I mean they were out. They had just opened for like a month.
I know.
And their place got wrecked because they're right on the canal. And they basically offered their whole parking lot as like a ground zero camp base for all volunteers. So people were just like every day, people were just coming through. I think Lock 29 gave away a bunch of their beer. I know different places here in town were giving like
it was a whole
pizza, food to all the volunteers. Dude, it was such a cool. It was overwhelming to see so many people step in and help people like when they didn't have to.
Right.
So, but that's what's really cool about this area. But the Colonial did a benefit concert there, and that was the first time I saw music. I saw, Cliff Hillis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him
master some of my tunes. He's great.
He's such a good music, great guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicest guys I met. And he's
great dude.
I can't wait to have him on because I think Jesse Crater is like, he toured with
I think ELO
Rolling
maybe?
Stones, and I was like, what? Like,
I think he ELO potentially.
Yeah, he was playing in, I forget what band he was playing in, but it was like a bigger band.
Yeah.
A couple bigger bands. Like he's
excited to check that one out, man. Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a really
Great
good musician, really good guitarist. But like that's the cool thing about this community is like it's a great community, but that's why I'm starting the show is like we have some like amazing musicians here in the suburbs. I would argue I think we have a better stream of really good groups and musicians than Philly does even really.
And you're starting to see that more with more venues, including we've talked about the Rec Room a bunch, but more venues hosting music, so you can see some regulars that are like killing it. Yeah, I think it's really rich in good artists.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, and then even getting outside of Phoenix, you've got the Gem, which Chris Bailey is booking for. It's a great spot.
That's a great spot too.
It's a little harder to get people out there sometimes, but it depends on where you're from. But now I know they've turned that into a speakeasy, so I'm sure it's easier to get people out there now.
And they have some great acts on there too.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to see they're pulling some like bigger acts too. It's cool to see that.
Sound in there is really good. Like
audio,
like being able to hear a band. Like if you want to hear a band sound really good, like it's a great room. Rivet in Potts Vegas is really good.
Potts Vegas, love
and
that.
then Harry, who I'm gonna have on, he owns that. He was one of the members of the Bloodhound Gang. So he's I don't know if he's part owner. I know he's an owner, but that's a cool venue. It's like right in the heart of like Phoenixville or Pottstown's really trying to push to be the next Phoenixville, and if you that area from the New York building, kind of to the next light, if you go there on a Friday or Saturday, it kind of looks like Phoenixville. They have the alley, which you should hit them up. They do live music.
No, JJR does music too.
Yeah, JJ Radigan's is right there. They've got axe throwing. They've got a brewery there. And I think there's another brewery opening where United Brewing was.
Okay.
I think Phoenixville's
a great template to base things off of. I know Pottstown. I know Royersford with the Hill is a little bit tough, but they've talked about wanting to model it after Phoenixville. And Pottstown's getting there too.
Here's the thing. Pottstown, if they're trying to play their cards right, I think they are. Again, it's not an overnight thing, but they really have the size and the infrastructure to be, I think, even more of a hopping spot than Phoenixville, because you've got a bigger street there,
right?
You've got a highway right there, like you've got 422 there, you've got 100, so you've got two kind of major intersections.
Is there access to a train out there? I know that's something we don't have.
So the train does go through the community college right there. But I mean, that's one of the things that will be really good for all these towns is if, I mean, again, people are like, why don't they just put the train in? Like, you're just gonna be like, okay, we're just putting a train in. Like,
no one's thought of it. It's a great solution.
Well, yeah, nobody's thought of that, but you're talking about zoning, you're talking about permits, you're talking
like with so many other towns too to make it work. You're
talking about like getting into people's properties and taking them over at certain parts. So like there's a lot that goes into that. I really hope, knock on wood, they do that.
It will be a godsend.
It'll be huge for this whole area. And again, I've been saying this almost every show. My idea is, you got South by Southwest down in Florida or Texas, the other Florida.
Yep.
And but we could be that area, and I think the train would just make it even bigger. But I mean, we have I think people coming out of the pandemic. You remember how thirsty people were for live music.
Yeah, I'm finding that's great, but it's also like, as someone trying to book talent for myself and other people, it's just like, you got to get way ahead of it now. It's just like, it's really coming back strong. So like,
yep,
yeah,
you really have to be on your game. You really have to be on your game. So this is something I like to ask too. What are you jamming on? Like, what's in your as we would say like 10, 15 years ago, what's in your CD player right now?
Love that question.
Yeah.
Love that question. And I would be
Changes for me like every
way cooler than I am if I had an actual CD player I was walking around with. But yeah, on the iPhone, I got Mountain Joy is a favorite band of mine. The guitarist is from around here, is a family friend, Sam Cooper, and such a good band. Like the lyrics, they just any band with lyrics that like crush me, like yours, Sunblind, is some good stuff. Just like I'll tell people that if they write a good song, like Ethan has lyrics that are really great, and I'll say, you know, that the biggest compliment I can give is that the song fucked me up. So that's the biggest compliment I can give, like for a song I listen to. And Mount Joy has a ton of songs like that. They're killing it, like touring and big group. Listen to some Lake Street Dive lately. I love their fusion-y type of progressions, and their vocals are great too. A lot of good emotion matched with awesome instrumentals. And then beyond that, you know, I have so much music that with different cover bands I'm listening to. So I have some of the Grateful Dead, some of the Fish, like some stuff like that I have to learn for repertoire.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm doing some different indie playlists. Mount Joy, big fan of yeah, so sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
All good.
But yeah, and anywhere, but I just love a bunch of different styles too. I'm big fan of the Kendrick Drake feud, in that like it's providing a lot of music. It's I feel like it's a classic feud at this point.
Sure.
I'm a closet Drake fan, but he's getting bodied right now. You know, I still listen to Tank.
I heard Diddy's really popular right now too.
Oh man. Yeah, but I mean, so between the stuff that I have to listen to for the bands I'm in, and then some different indie rock bands, and I got into a little bit of Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, just because I was interested. It seemed different, and like the song she has on there with Miley Cyrus is pretty cool. I like that. We were talking about collaboration earlier. She collaborates with a bunch of different artists.
I love anything Miley Cyrus, honestly. If I gotta be truthful,
she's great.
That last album she put out.
Yeah, she's awesome. My daughter's a big fan of Taylor Swift, so I have to know some of the songs. That goes on the Spotify playlist a bunch just because she cues it up. One thing that we overlap on, my daughter and I, that we both like, AJR. I'm a big fan of their like neo-symphonic type of approach.
Sure.
They have lyrics that, again, fuck me up, but like their instrumentation really resonates with me. They sampled and I say sampled, but I feel like they put their own spin on this Bach piece. I think it's Air on a G string, but this piece that you hear at weddings, and they have that in the background, so that taps into my classical sensibilities. Right. Taps into like the symphonic type of writing that I try to do and enjoy, and then match it with really equally compelling lyrics. Like that stuff's really good there too. So yeah, it's a little bit of what's in the playlist.
Can't say anything bad about Taylor Swift. I mean, you can. Her fans will just kill you.
That's right. They're scary. And plus, like, I respect her as a business person. I mean,
I make fun of her all the time because she's in but like I do like her tunes, and I madly respect her for her business skills, because she's just a badass bitch when it comes to business, man. Like she like when she stonewalled, didn't she stonewall like Spotify?
Right.
She was just like, cool, you're not paying, I'll take all my stuff down.
Right, and that like, changed things really quickly.
Dude, like that.
So, you know, she has power and can leverage it. Like the NFL is like scheduling around her tour, like, and good for her. I think she knows how to seize a moment. And like whether you agree with the things that she stands for or not, she stands for things. And I think like standing for things is underrated. And I think, just conceptually she does, and that's cool.
Yeah, I know her because she's from the area.
Right.
I have a
Yeah.
buddy, my
Reading area, I think.
yeah, my
Okay.
my buddy Kyle Gerhardt, who's going to be on here. I think he danced with her at prom. He'll maybe tell that story. I think he was trying to get with her friend. But he messed up. But her dad, I know from people that have grown up with her, know her, like her dad is a very smart, savvy businessman, and
Okay.
I think he really made a lot of the power moves when she was younger to set her up. And again, I mean, like if I think that business sense really rubbed off on her from her dad, because she makes some, again, like whether you agree with it or not, like she makes some really good business moves. She is a force to be reckoned with.
She's, the standard in that arena.
She really is.
Yeah.
But so let's for the end of the show, list all the bands you're in, so we can do the links across the screen for everybody to check out.
Sure. I'm going to give you the 6 bands I'm in right now. So we have the Proper Hustlers. We have Joe Kenney Band. We have Vehicle. The Break Room, Westchester. Dials Mavis Group. And we have Dad and Company.
Nice. I feel like I've only seen like half of them, so.
Due time, my man, due time. And I mean, like I play with Sunblind sometimes.
Sometimes we do some stuff.
Maybe stay tuned for stuff coming out on that regard.
Maybe for the live music portion of this, we'll just use the clip that the video we did at my studio.
It's just gonna make me cry, and I love it,
dude. I sent it to somebody that I kind of met when I was in Florida, and she didn't know I was in a band until like I posted something. We're friends on Facebook now, and like I sent her the clip, and she was like, she's like, I'm sitting in my room crying right now. Like,
it's a great compliment.
I get.
It really is. It really is, though.
Yeah. But then I also had a lot of friends who are just like, can you just write something that's happy? Like,
nah, come on.
I was seeing a girl, whatever, a situationship, and like she was super emotional, like just got out of a breakup, and she literally like would not listen to my music. She was like, I'm not in the mental state to listen to your music. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, you have to be in the right state. For mine, it's like, got my tissues ready.
Yeah,
gonna be crying for a little bit, and you just gotta roll with it.
it's my outlet for sad stuff. Like it's like,
well, you got to go through the sad to get you for the happy moments. It's vital, dude.
I know my old drummer was like, it doesn't make sense. You're like the like least serious person I know, and you write the saddest shit I've ever listened to. I'm like, that's why it's where it goes.
Right. That's a great juxtaposition. Never lose that, dude.
I mean, maybe I'll write some happy stuff. I feel like I should diversify, but we'll see.
But that means I might have to see you moping around town if it's like to balance it out. Come on. I don't want to see that shit.
We wrote one of the poppiest songs yesterday I've ever written. So
okay.
Tentative title, probably going to be the title, Hot Mom Summer.
It's awesome. It's fitting for your brand.
It's going to be, I'm hoping to shoot a music video with it. So if you're a mom out there.
Sorry.
Yeah. But that's all we have for today. This is Luke Eccles with Off the Record and my buddy Joe Kenney. Thank you, Joseph Kenney. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I had a great time.
Tune in until next time, guys.